Tastes like victory. Welcome back to yet another episode of Sippin With Sin, the podcast about stuff and things and stuff that are important to all, to many, to the worldwide, or just us. It doesn't really matter. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here for yet another week. We have a fun-filled episode. The holiday season is upon us. Our jingle bells are ringing, possibly, maybe. I'm not sure if, yeah. Okay. But it's another fun-filled episode. Hope the Yuletide spirit is among or upon you all, or I don't know, whatever. Let's welcome our co-host, because I'm just going off into all kinds of Christmas shenanigans to start. Welcome back, the one, the only, Mr. Christian Kringle himself.
What's up, everyone? It feels good to be back for another episode. Man, we've been doing this for a long time now, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. I was looking at the stuff. So those out in listening land, you know, it's where there's two of us, and it is a lot of work for two people. I just want to say that. So I'm doing a better job, or trying to. I've got some TikToks edited, so hopefully there'll be more content going on our other socials. So I apologize about that. But, you know, I'm one person, and one person that handles a stream too, and that's a lot of damn work. So I'm sorry, but I'm working on it. Okay. Glad we had this talk. Good talk. On team. Go. 3. Yes. That's right. I don't know what episode this is. It's 40 something. 42 or 3. I don't remember at this point. I actually could look. Do you know what episode we're on? Off the top of your head?
Oh,
this is 43.
I know it's
episode 43. How about that? 43, sorry.
It was in the 40s.
Yeah, 43 episodes. So if you've been here since episode 1, let us know. I would love to know who's listened since episode 1 and who has listened to all 43 episodes. If you have, pat yourself on the back. Jump up and pat yourself on the hiney too, because you rock. You're awesome. If you've listened to all 43 episodes, you are amazing, and we applaud you. But welcome back, everybody. What we like to do to start every episode is talk about what we've been listening to, reading, playing, or watching this past week, and we're gonna see what Christian's been into over the last week since we last spoke.
Hey man, this week has been it's been a weird week. So here in Nashville, where I'm stationed, it's literally been raining since I believe we recorded the last episode. There's been hardly any sun. It's just been windy and rainy. The sky has been gray every day, so that kind of takes a toll. But with that being said, as far as what I've been doing, what I've been watching, reading, playing, this week I spent a lot of time watching something that I think we'll talk about in a little bit. But I did watch some gameplay on a new game that I was thinking about picking up for myself for the holidays. And that game was the Callisto Protocols. I don't know if you plan to get that game, but I heard it was okay. I heard it had some bugs. And that's kind of what you hear about every new game that comes out pretty much ever at this point, except for like God of War. I don't remember that having too many bugs in it. I don't remember Ring having too many bugs either, to be honest. I know that it had some weird like glitches that helped the players out, but as far as it being bad, I don't think it had anything wrong with it. So there was that. With that said, though, I did watch plenty of the gameplay for the Callisto Protocols, and I think that for all of the people who say it's like a knockoff of Dead Space, it definitely has the look and feel of Dead Space in certain parts. The parts that they show you in the trailers, like the early trailers, definitely looked a lot more Dead Space, and I think that was for a reason. I think it looks like that because obviously it's the same team of people who are doing it for the most part, and they're kind of making their own thing that wasn't so mainstream for sure, and like I respect that, but the parts of it that look like Dead Space are the fact that it has those weird mutant creatures. You have to stomp on them just like in Dead Space. And the combat system reminds you of Dead Space because it's like, kind of over the shoulder and whatnot. So for sure, it has that feel and look of Dead Space. But when you're playing the game, when you're going through the story, it's definitely not so much Dead Space. And you can really tell when you get into the combat that it's not so much and that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing because you don't want to just play another Dead Space game before the Dead Space remake comes out. But what I can say about this is Callisto Protocols is a game that would have been amazing had it had about 3 to 6 more months of them just really buckling down on the combat system, the drops for enemies, just the kind of the basic look of the game. You know, if they just had more time, it would have been a lot better. This game came out obviously for the holiday system. They want people to buy this game, you know, for Christmas and and for their kids and for themselves and stuff like that. They definitely wanted to do that. But also the Dead Space remake is supposed to be coming out in January, so they wanted it to come out ahead of that because if you have Dead Space come out and then this game that looks a lot like Dead Space that isn't Dead Space, people don't want to buy it. So I think that they definitely needed to wait on it a little bit for sure. And that you can tell that when you watch the gameplay or play the game. It is buggy. The enemy drops are very strange. The final boss fight is very weird. Some of the mini bosses in the game are almost impossible to beat if you're on harder difficulties. Like if you play it on the hardest difficulty, you're gonna die a lot, and it's not even because the game is difficult. It's like there will be jump scares in the game that cause you damage, right? But it's something that you can't control. And if you don't have the brightness all the way up, there's no fucking way that you're going to be able to see a lot of the stuff that you're going to need to see for the game itself. And it's really, really annoying for the player. So it's not a terrible game. It doesn't need a whole lot of work. It needs like one or two really good patches, and maybe some really fun DLC if that's what you're into after you beat the main story. But definitely a couple of patches will make that much more of a game that's worthy of playing. I think for now, if I had to rate it, if you were going to buy this game at full price, I would say out of 10, I would give this game a solid 6.5, 7. And that's mainly just because it is buggy and it did need more time in the tank. With that being said, I don't think the game is trash. I don't think that the game is unplayable. I don't think that it's boring. None of that. I just think that you know what you're getting into when you play this kind of space horror survival game, especially if you play games like Dead Space. And then with that being said, after it gets a good patch, I think it'll be fine. So, it's definitely something that I plan to pick up once it goes on sale. I think sale price of the game wasn't the price it is now. If it was definitely sold at a discounted price, then I would probably rate it up higher. I'd probably rank it 7.5, closer to 8, mainly because if you're not paying $70 for this fucker, then you're good. But when you're paying that much for the game, you want the game to work as soon as you get it downloaded to your. So that's kind of how I feel about that. And as far as what I've been reading, sorry this was longer than I expected it to be, but as far as what I've been reading, the only thing of note that I wish to talk about that I've been reading, because I've been reading a couple things, but I did read Batman issue 130, which was the finale of the failsafe arc. Now, this issue, like, I don't want to ruin it for people who plan on reading it, but man, if you're a Batman fan, especially a Batman fan like I am, this is definitely something that's super interesting to read. And I thought that, the ending is weird. At first, I didn't think I liked it, but then I read it again and I really did like it. I really did enjoy it. I really did like it. It's absolutely a Batman story in a nutshell. It's about Failsafe is a robot essentially that Batman created to take him down if he ever crossed the line and started killing people. He gets framed for the Penguin's murder in the very first issue, which was awesome, by the way. And then Failsafe is activated. So Failsafe knows everything that Batman knows, but it's also a robot. It doesn't get tired. It's like the Terminator. So imagine a Batman that is out to get you that doesn't get tired. It was fantastic. And Failsafe takes on Superman, takes on Batman, the Bat family, like Aquaman, like it takes on so many people and it takes them down in the ways that Batman would do the same. So it was really cool to see that. I know there are a lot of people out there who don't like stories where Batman is, has contingencies and is on top and all that stuff. But to those people, I just say I don't think that you're reading the right comics. Maybe you're not a Batman fan because that's kind of what makes Batman as popular as he is. If you don't like, the edgier, darker kind of takes on Batman, then maybe you should be reading, Batman 66 and then older stories that are, still Elseworlds and stuff that kind of lend to uh, that version of Batman that caters to you. You know what I'm saying? But if you're just an everyday Batman fan, you love the character, you want to read what he's got, you like all that stuff, then this is definitely a story you should be reading. And that's what I've been reading, watching, and playing these last few days. And then as far as playing, obviously I'm still playing God of War. I actually got stuck on a puzzle last night, and when I figured out how to actually get past the puzzle, I was really pissed off because they don't really explain it that well. Like, the characters kind of tell you, like, hey, maybe if you do this, but it still didn't make a lot of sense to me. And when I finally figured it out, I was like, what, man, damn it. That's all I had to do. So that was definitely fun. But I'm further in the game for sure. Um, Man, what I can say about God of War, because I haven't gotten to the end yet, Kratos has had so much development in his character over the course of just these last two games. Think about how Kratos was in the first game. He was just, fight first, ask questions later type of person. He didn't really care what Atreus was thinking too much. He just really cared about how he was feeling, what he was dealing with. But in this game, dude, like the way that he talks to people, way that he interacts with people, the way that he has a lot more wisdom in this game, and it's really cool to see. I know a lot of people are kind of hating on that because they want to see the old Kratos where he's just killing everything, yelling at people, doing his thing, but like that's not character development. You have to develop that character. That character has to age with us. He has to grow. He has to learn. That's what makes characters in general fun to see and to watch because they learn from their past mistakes. So seeing this version of Kratos for me is actually awesome because when we're in combat, it's the same old Kratos. He's brutally beating the shit out of anything that gets in his way. But when he is communicating with people that he considers to be companions or friends, he talks to them a lot differently in this, and I really enjoy it. I don't know how far you are in the game, Sin, but
I actually haven't played it
damn,
since the
I'm
last time
loving
we
this.
talked. I've not been able to really play much of anything.
Fair, fair, fair. I usually get about an hour to play at night, and I just really, really like it, man. I'm enjoying it. Uh, Even though I'm only playing it for like an hour, I try to get as much out of that hour as I can possibly get, and it's been fun, man. But what I can also say is this is also one of those games where if you don't get to play it for a few days, get to play it for a week, even coming back into the game, it doesn't take away from anything. It's still fun. You know what's going on. The game's good. It's not going to be less good because you didn't get to play it. I understand you're busy. Like life happens. Same for me. But I've also just been staying up way later than I normally would, just so I can get the time in to play.
Nice.
I guess I like hurting myself. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's great and I love it.
Um, Callisto Protocol is a game that I might have got. I was lucky enough to get blessed with a key from, I guess, from the company. So I'm pretty excited about it. I haven't.
Oh,
Do what?
that's awesome. I can't. I really hope that you. I really hope that you stream that because that's something that I would love to see
I am.
you play, and I highly doubt that you'll play it on the hardest difficulty. So
I finished Evil West today on stream, so I'm going to. I might start Callisto Protocol next week on the Twitch streams. We'll see. I'm trying to decide. I was kind of waiting a little bit for it. That way I could really kind of get into it. But yeah, I might start it next week. We'll see. But I'm excited to play it. Either way, I'm playing it, and I'm planning on playing it on stream. So that'll be fun. I'm pretty stoked for it because I like spooky game stuff. But for me this week, like I said, I played Evil West. I finished it. I've been playing World of Warcraft more. Me and the missus have been playing it. Been playing it some on stream on Facebook, and then I've been playing some off stream with her a little bit. It's like my chill game where I can just, I don't know, I just do the stuff, I just quest and like chill out. I don't have to like worry about stuff, so it's kind of nice. So I've been doing that, and then on top of that, I've been watching some streams. I've went down a rabbit hole that you may be interested in. I almost texted you about it the other day. I have been down the rabbit hole of Twitch music streams.
really,
Yes. And what started is
how does
I
that
am a
go?
big Ghost Inside fan. Obviously, I enjoy metal music as a whole, considering I played it, and I've just been a fan of it for a long time, and it's pretty much my go-to. I listen to everything. I'm really diverse on what I listen to. Like, I appreciate all types of music, and I can listen to all types of music for the most part. But my go-to is pretty much metal of some kind, whether it be hardcore or progressive or, whatever. Like, I bounce around. So, as a metal fan, I was in the Ghost Inside's guitar player stream, Chris, the other night, and he rated Andy Sizik. Do you know who that is by chance, Christian?
Name sounds familiar, and I feel like I should know who this is.
You know the band Monuments?
Yeah, I love Monuments.
That's the front man.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So
There
he's
it is.
the
Now I got it.
singer
We're back
of
in, we're back.
Monuments, as well as Termina and another band. Now it's escaping me, so I apologize. But super cool dude. Like, it was
Actually
really
haven't
cool just,
listened
you know,
to
interacting with
Termina
him,
yet.
talking to him, and listening to him. He pretty much was just getting music videos and stuff. People were sending him things, and he was watching them on stream and talking about the music. Really cool guy, though, so I enjoyed that. And that started the rabbit hole. And then I noticed Samus streams. I don't know if you know who Samus is. 66 Samus. He does YouTube as well as streams on Twitch.
Actually,
Do you know who that is?
I don't know who that is. No.
So I want to say, I'm going to double check before I say the wrong band. My band played with him once upon a time, and I'm pretty sure he was in Abigail Williams. And I could be super wrong. I'm trying to find it right now. But he has been around for a while, and the dude is an insane drummer. Like, nuts. Where is his list of bands? Maybe this? Trying to find. He's toured with such artists as Devin Townsend, blah, 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 blah. Maybe he wasn't in Abigail. I feel like he was, but I could be wrong. Maybe he's just solo. Anyways, he's been doing YouTube and stuff for a while. He streams on Twitch. Been watching him. He has a really cool setup for his Twitch streams and like the drum stuff, like lots of different cameras and all. And then another one that you should 100% know that I'm almost embarrassed on how long it took me to figure it, like put two and two together. I'd seen this guy's name around on Twitch, like I guess some recommended in music streams and stuff. And I didn't like, it didn't really sink in. I was like, that name sounds really familiar. And then once I went to his stream and saw it, I was like, damn, I'm an idiot. I know exactly who that is. Do you know who Joshua Travis is?
Hold on. I do. Give me one, because I'm confusing him with somebody else. Hold on. I know who this is. I know he's a guitarist. Hold on. Wait.
Yeah,
He's,
you're on the right track. You're on the right track for sure.
Wasn't he in a mirror?
He is currently in a mirror.
And okay. Oh shit, he's from the Tony Danza tap dancing extravaganza, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he's in a lot of stuff. Glass Cloud, I want to say.
Yes, he was. So he went Tony Tap Dance Extravaganza, Glass Cloud. Then I'm sure there's probably been something between there. Now he's in a mirror. But as soon as like the name sounded so familiar, I was like, why is that familiar to me? And I kept on. I'm like, that name sounds really familiar. And then I would just pass it off and go do something else. And then when I went into a stream, I was like, that's Tony Danza. Like, that's the guitar player from Tony Danza. Damn. Which I believe he's from Murfreesboro or Nashville. He's from Tennessee, right?
Pretty sure.
I think. I could be wrong. Do you know?
I'm pretty sure that he is, but maybe he's central to Tennessee and not from here. I don't want to lie and be like, yeah, of course, and then look stupid.
Maybe I didn't. Maybe we didn't play with Samus. Maybe that's not who I'm thinking of. I don't know. It says he was in Decrepit Birth.
I don't know that band. I'm not gonna.
I don't know. Anyway, Samus, awesome drummer. So back to Joshua Travis. I could have been really wrong if I was wrong about Abigail Williams. I'll have to look up who the hell that drummer was now. Dude, that's been years ago. This has been probably easily, a decade ago since I probably did all this stuff. So, excuse me if my facts are wrong. But Joshua Travis, dude is a hell of a guitar player. He streams. He's also a super entertaining streamer. All of these guys have been really entertaining. But Josh Travis, like, is just a good vibe. He's real funny. He's real chill. And then whenever it's time to throw down and play guitar, Christian, I've never seen someone strum so aggressively. Like, you watch most guitar players, it's like real fluid and like finesseful, you know, like the pick hand. This dude is beating the shit out of these strings, which he is playing like, I want to say an 8 string. He is beating the hell out of these strings. But it's fun to watch, and dude jams the hell out. Next time he's live, I'll have to text you and let you check it out because it's pretty sweet. He plays all kinds of stuff. He'll play, Mirror. He'll do like band practice, I guess, play their set. He'll play like old Danza stuff. He'll play Glass Cloud. He plays all kinds of stuff. And dude throws down when he does
Glass
it.
Cloud. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it was Glass Cloud. That's what I was
Yeah.
trying to remember the other band.
But I've been watching a lot of that. Also, Nick Nocturnal. Yeah, so I've been down the Twitch music rabbit hole. I know there's more bands that we know that have members that are streaming and stuff. One thing I'll say, and I made this mention to the wife the other day. So whenever I was doing the music thing, so those that don't know, the music genre and the music genre that Christian and myself were in, there's not a lot of money to be had in it. You're not going to get rich for the most part, unless you're like Killswitch or something, which I don't even know if they're probably not even rich either. Unless you have that way to like bridge into huge arenas and stuff and start selling that out. The underground scene is not going to pay a lot. So a lot of the musicians that would tour, come through on record labels and stuff, they're scraping by. And they didn't really have, I'm sure they did like lessons and they did what they could off tour to make any kind of money to have on tour. But now it's different than it was then. Cause like a lot of them off tour are doing like Twitch or doing YouTube and stuff like that. And they're able to use their fan base from the band to bring in more revenue to help support them, which is really cool, I think. And it's a lot of times doing just, what they love, their musical stuff anyways, like Sam is playing drums or JT playing guitar and just jamming out and doing band practice. Stuff he's going to be doing anyways. He's interacting with fans and stuff like that. And, was it Andy's going to be doing, he does like live performances where you can request songs and he'll perform them live, which is awesome, like doing vocals and stuff. So I think that's a really cool thing now for the music scene. And it was, I don't know, I've been down that rabbit hole and kind of nostalgic about it all. But that's what I've been into this week. So I'm going to have to message you next time one of them's live and let you check it out. Because I'm sure you'll probably get a kick out of it too.
Absolutely, dude. I still love that. Obviously, I'm still in the scene. Like, I still love it. I'm not like in a band right now, but I still love the music and support it. And I just remember a lot of time, like the only money that you really made from playing this type of music back when we were doing it was selling merch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay,
That's
I
where
wasn't
you were
wrong.
getting all
Samus
your.
is in the damn. He was in Abigail Williams, 2008, 2009. So I'm not completely crazy. He's one of the huge list of former members for Abigail Williams. So pretty sure we did. He was there when we played with him, and I'm pretty sure that's who we talked to. That was super chill. Okay, sorry.
You're good.
Yeah, merch was away. So Andy said something that kind of threw me for a loop, and I mean, not really, but it was kind of like as you did music more and more and longer, you saw kind of how rough the music business was. Even if you got to the point of being signed, which all bands that were playing shows frequently and touring and stuff, that was your goal, correct? To be signed. You wanted to have that label to back you, to help put out records, to get you on better tours, to, just better exposure. And that was always the goal. And Andy the other night on his stream mentioned, he was just like, we still haven't covered most of what we owe our label for their previous record on Monuments. He's like, we're still in debt for that. He's like, so when we do cover that and pay them back what we owe them for the record, then we make 20% of our earnings and we split it 5 ways. And I was like, God, that sucks. Like that's rough to make money on. So, I mean, obviously doing stuff like the streaming stuff helps them just stay afloat, but it's brutal out there. And I know you knew people that were in signed bands and stuff, and it's not the glorious life you would think, or it's not like you're Metallica or Motley Crue or somebody out there making, tons of money everywhere you go. It's rough.
Yeah, unless you're so old school big bands is what I'll say. Popular bands, they make a lot of money with stuff because not only are they signed with a bunch of things, but one, they get a lot of stuff for free. They have a lot of merchandise that they make money on. Like I was saying earlier, they also have deals with all kinds of people. You know what I'm saying? Like you get Slash on a picture with your guitars, you're gonna sell those guitars to people who like that kind of. So they make it's really just marketing, 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 marketing. They're in all kinds of marketing things, and they can afford to have their tickets be ridiculous prices. Like for an example, one of my favorite bands when I was younger for sure was Blink 182, and they're touring and they're playing again, but their tickets were so fucking expensive that me actually paying to go see them was gonna put me in the negative. For what though? Because what if I go to this show and spend all this money and the show is not even that great? It's that kind of thing. But people bought that stuff and it sells out because people want to go see their favorite bands, these older bands that aren't going to be around forever, that might die on us. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of stuff. So I get it. And then you get these newer bands and people don't really care so much because so much is available online. The best part of a lot of these bands is seeing if they can do it live, and hearing them play live and hearing how they are with the fans live and what their energy's like, and if they can get the crowd moving. And I remember back when we were playing all the time, there were weeks where we had a show every day, and I remember just having off time to not have to be with the fans and like essentially like selling yourself, in your music. I didn't even know what to do with myself because I'd finally had time to breathe. And like while I was doing that, I was still in school, I was still working. So it was crazy.
One
But
of
with
the
that
best
being
times
said,
about being in a band, though, like especially when you're playing a lot of shows frequently, and we'd see each other multiple times a month, most times. Just like whether my band was playing with
yeah,
your band or one of us were up there supporting, like at a show or something, or whatever the case may be, was just the bro time, like hanging out with a bunch of bands and like the people in the bands. You become pretty tight with them, and everybody becomes kind of like a big family to hang out and chill. And it's always like a good time. Like I miss that camaraderie and the hangout. Do you remember I don't know what show it was, but it was your band, my band, and I feel like there was one or two more, but we all ended up at was it a Wendy's? There's a picture somewhere, and
yeah,
it's like
dude,
this
it was
big
Wendy's.
ass table of like all of us together.
Yeah, that's on my old Facebook.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I see that. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, dude. Like, I look at those pictures, every now and then, and just be like, man, damn, because I was wearing your band's shirt actually. I
Yeah.
remember that very well. That was my favorite shirt because you guys had that Medusa shirt,
Yeah.
and I wore that shit out, dude. I wore it all the time.
That was I like that design. That was a good design.
Yeah, that was absolutely my favorite, dude. I loved it.
The first one was like a Poison Ivy design, I think, or something. I'm trying to remember what the first design we had. They were all done
Who
by
did you guys get? You?
Plea for Purgeon's guitar player, like those, and then our guitar player did a couple later on.
Thanks for purging, man. They were a treat to
Dude,
go
they were
see
so
live,
fun to
and
watch live. They were cool
they
dudes
were
too. I
such
really
nice
liked
guys.
Blake and them. Their drummer, I will say this, Please drummer. So me and Christian both have been very blessed to see a lot of bands, and not only have we seen a lot of bands, we've been able to share the stage with a lot of cool bands. And even now, it's still cool to like think back, like the interactions you have and like sharing the stage with them. So I got to see a lot of really cool drummers and a lot of very, very good drummers. One thing I will say, probably the drummer that had the most swag that I shared the stage with would be Please drummer. Trying to think, I think his name was Aaron. I could be wrong. I really don't remember.
I think so.
Does that sound right? I can't remember off the top of my head. I remember
Yeah.
Blake's the guitar player. Andy was the front man. I think it was Aaron, maybe not. But this dude, so he put his click track in, and me and my drummer were kind of got like side stage. We were like off to the side. We're watching him because we'd seen Plea before, but we're like over there watching the drummer. Homeboy rocked out the entire time, like even between songs when it's time to like tune your guitar and like get water and chill. Whatever was in this dude's click track and like he was listening to, he was like vibing out hard. I'm talking about like bobbing his head, like swinging sticks, and like dude was in it. And I was like, damn, that's a lot of fun to watch. Like this dude is just straight up enjoying stuff. Like he's vibing out. And he played a hell of a set. But they were a fun band. They were a ton of fun to watch.
Really were, man.
Memories. We need to have a podcast just going down nostalgia lane with music, because we've already spent like half our podcast. We got caught up on music.
We did. We didn't even. You didn't even get to the thing that you've been watching,
Yeah.
man?
Well, I mean, I've been watching music. That was it. It takes me down the rabbit hole. What else I've been watching though? So we'll get back on track. If you guys would like to hear more music stories, because we have a ton, Christian and myself have done quite a bit. Let us know in the comments. We will happily share some fun stories, or if you have questions you would like to ask us about our musical endeavors, feel free to do those as well. But what else I've watched? I watched, as well as apparently a ton of people, I watched Wednesday recently on Netflix. And I'm sure Christian has pretty thought out stuff. I'm going to keep mine short and sweet. I was not super into it. And I'm not calling it boo-boo shoes. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying it personally did not grasp me. I didn't really I really just didn't care through most of it. I really like Jenna Ortega as Wednesday. I thought she did good. I liked Christina Ricci having a role in there. Who, those who don't know, is Wednesday from the Addams Family movies. I thought Catherine Zeta-Jones wasn't bad as Morticia. I did not care for Gomez. I just didn't like who they cast for him. It was kind of weird for me. Pugsley isn't really a main factor. He's kind of weird looking. He's a puggy little kid. He's whatever. It was very teeny for me. And after the first episode, I was like, "Ooh, this is gonna be pretty sweet." And then it just kind of lost me. So I didn't really care too much for the stuff. And honestly, I would just do other things with it in the background. I wasn't really like super engrossed in it. It is what it is. It's getting good reviews. People are liking it. I'm sure there'll be a second one. I don't know. I didn't hate it, but it wasn't. And I think the missus, she was into it at first pretty good, and she was super excited to watch the episodes, and I think it fell off for her too. So I don't know. Christian, what did you think about it? Did you like it? How did you feel?
So I fucking loved it, dude. I liked it quite a bit. I'm definitely in that group of people who really, really like the
Well, I'm
show.
trying to it reminded me of
Um,
something, and it's bothered me. And I've been trying to think of what show I got vibes of. But it reminded me of
it reminds me. It reminds me, honestly, of like what the CW shows always wanted to do and never could, and that's because they have each episode is just long enough. You have the characters doing what they need to do. You have your representation in the show, and it's only 8 episodes, right? So you don't get bogged down so hard with the stories being told in such a long period of time. So I think that's what
am I
really drew me
thinking
to the
of
show. I will
The
say this,
Order, maybe? Did it remind me of? No, Order and Sabrina.
possibly.
Sabrina. I think it's Sabrina. I struggle with Sabrina. I don't think I ever finished it.
I didn't finish Sabrina. I loved the Sabrina comics. I will say I am a huge advocate of those comics for sure. I didn't finish the show, however. I only actually watched like the first. I don't even remember how much of it I watched. I didn't finish the first season. I know that much. Not because I didn't like it, just because it didn't hold my interest like the comics did. And it's just it happens sometimes like that. Plus, it was it came out at a time where I was watching so much shit, and it didn't quite work for me. With that being said, though, I don't think Wednesday is without its flaws. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely did not like their Gomez.
He
It
just
just
was
wasn't.
weird.
I'm used to the Gomez. Yeah, man, Louis Gussman. Like, I don't dislike him. I just don't see him as Gomez. You know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
see
I'm
him.
used to
Did you
Gomez
watch
being
Shameless?
like the Gomez that we got from the '90s movies, right?
Did you watch
So
Shameless by
maybe
chance?
that's I watch what now?
Shameless?
Uh, I watched the UK version of it. I didn't watch the American version.
Well, he's like a homeless hustler guy in one of the seasons. And it just, that fit him more than Gomez. Like, Gomez to me is like a very suave, charming individual. I mean, that's always the vibe I've got. And just, I didn't really get that from him. I don't
The
know.
guy that they got to play young Gomez when they were in school and stuff, like I thought he was
Yeah,
pretty
that's
good. I
fine.
thought he was perfect in the role. It made perfect sense. And getting the older Gomez that we get, it didn't make a lot of sense. He wasn't suave, he wasn't smooth, and like I said. The Gomez that I'm used to, that I grew up with, was the one from those two '90s films, Adam's Family
Yeah.
and Adam's Family Values. Like, I'm used to that guy. He was also in Bison. I can't think of his name right now. It eludes me. I apologize, but like, I really, really like that dude. As Gomez, he was perfect, and like, I don't see Louis Gutzman being a person who could do like the Mamushka from
Yeah.
the Adams Family movies in the '90s, right? I just don't see that happening, for good reason. And I'll say this too. I also wasn't a big fan of the guy they got to play Uncle Fester.
Yeah, that
Just
was.
wasn't
I'm trying to
really
think of
my.
that actor. He was kind of weird too. He threw me off. Where's he at?
Yeah, I didn't. I just wasn't really feeling. I wasn't
Fred
feeling a few of the.
Armisen. Armisen.
I have no idea who that actor is. I'm not even gonna lie.
I'm trying to
Sure,
think.
if I saw him with hair on his head, I'd probably know who he was.
He's
But I have
from
no idea right now.
Portlandia.
Yeah, I didn't watch Portlandia, so that makes even more sense.
I'm trying to find what
But
else he's
what I'll
in.
say about the show, like my thoughts on the show are as follows. As far as Wednesday's family members, like I didn't care too much for her family members. I thought Pugsley served a purpose. So, and he was only in a couple of like all of them were only in a couple episodes. So that's what makes it bearable for me. So I really enjoyed them not being in all the episodes. However, Wednesday was cast really well. Catherine Zeta-Jones being Morticia, like I got used to that. It was weird at first, but I got more used to it. I will say the young woman that they got to play Morticia when she was a teenager, I thought she was absolutely perfect. I really, really liked her, and I would honestly watch a season of that story when they were in school and they met each other and fell in love and all that. I would love to see that. All the flashback shit that we saw was fantastic. I will say this too. Wednesday in general would be a very unlikable character. In any other show, she would be my least favorite character because she is, she's the stereotypical goth girl in every show and every movie you've ever seen. I don't want any friends. I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't like you. I don't like this. I don't like that. Like everything is death and destruction for me. My only pet was a scorpion. Like that kind of shit. Like she's super unlikable in the way that she talks to people and how she does things. But because I'm a fan of Wednesday in general from various Adams Family shows and movies, I knew what I was getting into going into this character. So that's what, kind of made me like her. Plus, she's perfectly cast by Jenna Ortega. I really liked her rendition of the character, especially for this show. So it was really well done in that sense. The only other goth character I can tell you that acted like Wednesday kind of acts was in a movie that I fucking love, by the way, called The Faculty. It's one of my favorite '90s horror movies, and Stokely is the character I'm thinking of. She's like, if you take Stokely and make her even more goth, then you get Wednesday in this show. But like I said, because Wednesday is the titular character, that's who we're following throughout this. She is a very unlikable character, but we know that she's going to grow. We know that her character is going to change a bit because of what she does and who she is and whatnot. So you kind of go with it. And it's, like I said, much more enjoyable. So we have that. I will tell you, though, a standout fucking character for me in this show was Bianca, the nemesis essentially to Wednesday. I fucking love that actress in this. I love her character. I love her look. I love that we have a dark skinned black woman who's a character in this show who has lines, who has agency in the story. I loved all of that. I love that. I love that they didn't make her wear like a wig for this. She just had her natural buzz hair with the fade. I love that, dude. I love that they had her lips super shiny in this. Like, it was awesome. I loved her character. I loved the attitude that she had. I loved all of that. Her character made sense. Then you learn more about her. Everything about her makes sense more so than how Wednesday acts. You know what I'm saying? So I really, really enjoyed seeing what I saw with that character. And she is another reason why I wanted to watch the show so fucking much. So that was really cool. And then when you get into other characters like Xavier, like I liked his character enough, but he's also like too much. He his character, obviously, for those of you who haven't seen this, I apologize if I'm ruining anything. I really do apologize for that, because I'm just kind of going off my thoughts. But like Xavier's character could have been written much better. He didn't need to be so into Wednesday's character. He didn't need to be so hot and cold sometimes. Like the way that he acted towards Bianca was a little much for me. Like I understand that he couldn't trust her because of her ability and stuff, and he thought she was doing this or whatever. And we might get in season two that she actually was using her siren ability on him. I don't fucking know. But he was so cold to her, but so warm to Wednesday. And that was very strange because they spent so much, apparently, they spent so much time together. So you would expect him to be a little bit more forgiving, I guess, of the Bianca character. But then they have her with this weird romance with another character who I don't really like, who was strangely smooth in some scenes. Like he, you know what I mean? Like he was definitely sweet talking some people in this. So we have that going on. But that her best friend character that we had, I can't remember her name right now off the top of my head. I apologize. But like the werewolf girl, like she was really fucking over the top. But you needed that to balance out how droll Wednesday always is. So I get it. And then their room being split in half was, cool imagery to see. Some of the scenes were shot really well. And then now I'm going to talk about Tyler, the other boy, right? This motherfucker, dude, like, without ruining the finale of the show and all of that, what I can say about Tyler's character.
He ran over a kid and tried to cover it up once upon a time. You probably have no
I
clue what
just
I'm talking
really,
about, but he's the son from Your Honor with Bryan Cranston, and he runs over a boy and on his bike.
oh, I didn't even know that. That's
That's like
cool.
the whole premise of like the show. His dad, Bryan Cranston's a judge, and the actor that plays Tyler, his character runs over, not on purpose, runs over a boy and then panics and like pretty much makes it a hit and run. He tries to cover it up and the boy ends up dying. And then I'm pretty sure it's like, actually, I think it's a mob boss's son, if I remember right. And it's just a whole mess. But as soon as I saw him, I was like, that's the kid from Your Honor. And he already had negative points.
But anyway, with that being said, like his character really got on my fucking nerves too. And it's mainly because I'm an adult, right? So watching this show that's made for like teenagers, you as an adult you can kind of see through a lot of the BS that writers are giving these characters. But when Tyler first shows up, it's like it's fine. But as you go through the show and him and Wednesday kind of build up this weird romance, in my head, I'm just like, why the fuck do you even? Why do you fuck with Wednesday, bro? Like, what about Wednesday makes you want to keep talking to her? I don't understand that because she blows him off all the time. She pretty much tells him straight up that like she's only interested in what he can do for her, which is, give her rides, help her get out of trouble and that type of shit. So like why are you even going into this aside from like pissing off your fucking dad? Like what's the point? So I really didn't understand that. And then the other thing that really gets on my nerves about that type of thing was he's an adult. He's not in high school anymore. He works at this coffee shop. Like he's a grown ass man at this point. Like what about him is teen? You know what I'm saying? Like at least the other people in the show, we don't ever see the normies in school and stuff, but we get the illusion that they all go to the same school and all this other shit. We see them working like summer jobs and stuff, but Tyler seems like that's been his job. Like he's legit paying rent. Like he seems like he pays taxes, he pays rent, like he still lives at home with his dad, but that's only because he works at a coffee shop and he can't afford to do other things. You know what I'm saying? So like him being so into Wednesday just because like it was really strange to me because of the way that it evolves. I do like how his character was pretty straightforward with Wednesday though. Like he just told her how he felt about things all the time. He told her no a few times for things that I absolutely was like, yeah, tell her fucking no, my dude. Like this isn't okay to do no matter what's going on. So I like things like that in the show about him and just in the show in general. But like I said, man, there were some things that happened to some of these characters that were just a little strange, and that even with the show being the show, I couldn't really forgive. Like I said, Uncle Fester wasn't my jam. Gomez wasn't really my jam. The other family members were fine. Like nothing was going on about it that I didn't necessarily like. I did really like the flashback scenes, whether that's the Goody Adams scenes or the young Gomez, the young Morticia scenes. I really enjoyed those. Um, the story as a whole, I enjoyed. Eugene, the fucking beekeeping kid, like strangely one of my favorite characters because I really enjoyed him. He was a sweet kid, and I got it. You know what I mean? And then some of the other characters and their abilities and stuff was just kind of crazy. So, with all that being said, I watched all of Wednesday. Um, I really enjoyed it. I couldn't wait to get to the end just because I was just hype on the show. But something that I just thought about that I should talk about because I didn't take notes on this. I've been talking about favorite characters and stuff. Scrap all of that. My favorite character was actually Gwendolyn Christie's character, the principal of the school, Principal Weems. It was her name. I fucking loved her character. I loved her power. I loved what she stood for. I loved how she looked in the show. Like she had, I just really, really, really liked her show. And then when you get to the end and you see like, what happens with her character and stuff, I just I just didn't like it, dude. I was fucking pissed off to be honest with you. And when it happened, I almost was like, I think I'm done with the show now. But with that being said, that just means that her character was really good, and I just really liked her. She was written the way that I needed her to be written for this show, so I enjoyed it, and I'm really glad that Principal Weems is a part of the story more than just one episode. I'm really glad that she wasn't just there to be an antagonist to Wednesday's character. Like I really liked the progression that we went on with her. So that was really cool. And I think that it would have been a completely different show if they cast somebody else for one. And two, if the principal's character was just what you expect her to be from the first episode, which is just an annoyance for Wednesday. Like that would have been completely different. So I really like the antagonizing characters that they had for Wednesday, which was Principal Weems and Bianca. Those characters ended up being my favorite of the entire show. And then the last thing I'll say about Wednesday is the dance scene that we get. Everybody's talking about it. It was really funny. It was really cool to see. But I realized recently that Jenna Ortega got in some hot water for that scene because apparently she was sick when she was filming that, and they kept giving her medicine in between like shoots and stuff. And then she got tested after filming that scene and then tested positive for COVID. So a lot of people were pissed off that she was filming this without with COVID and whatnot. And I'm just thinking to myself like, I mean, it really sucks that she knew she was sick and then filmed anyway. She didn't know she had COVID until after the fact when she got tested. But like, I mean, I, I guess what I'm saying is I don't really care so much. Not because I don't take it seriously. I think it's very irresponsible for her to do something like that, especially knowing that she doesn't feel good, that she has like a sore throat and stuff. But I mean, she's at work, bro. She's doing her fucking job. Like her job is to show up on set when she's needed to film these scenes. And like we're just people on Twitter and stuff being like, "Oh my god, how dare you!" Like motherfucker, how many of y'all went to work sick? Not necessarily with COVID, but just went to work knowing that you were sick and didn't want to use up a sick day because you wanted to use your sick days for shit that you didn't need, like just being off work and going to parties and going to out of town to clubs, to movies, whatever the fuck. So I mean, I guess to that point, I just wanted to say yes. I think it was irresponsible for the people who agree with me on that, but also like chill the fuck out a little bit, just because I mean, if somebody's paying you the money that Jenna Ortega is getting paid to show up to film this dance scene that's ridiculous, you would do it as well. So I guess just kind of be mindful of that. Other than that, though, man, like I said, I really enjoyed Wednesday. If I had to rate it, I'd give it a solid 8. I really liked it. I can't wait for season 2. I hope that they expand on the characters even more. I hope that we do more. I hope that we push the boundaries more. Like I just want more from season 2. So hopefully we get. That's what I think.
Nice. I do think the dance scene's cool because it has a throwback to like I want to say the original Wednesday, a dance she did, and Jenna Ortega does that, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, Wednesday. But on to our next segment, and what we're going to talk about now is me and Christian have tasked ourselves with giving you 3 Christmas horror movies. That's right, keeping the spooky vibes going. But we're going to give you 3 Christmas horror movies each. And, yeah, I'll start and give Christian a little breather. But 3 Christmas horror movies. First thing that comes to mind for me is Black Christmas from 1974. It was a decade before A Christmas Story come out. Um, it's considered by many to be the first modern slasher film, predating Halloween by 4 years. So there's that. Um, pretty good. Involves college girls, sorority girls, and they get, they have a killer after them. So there's that. But check out Black Christmas. Second movie I'm going to give you would be Silent Night, Deadly Night from 1984. Murder in Santa Claus. Santa Claus coming down your chimney to murder some people. There you go. Yeah, there you go. I mean, what else can I tell you? Santa Claus killing people. If you're on the naughty list, then you're probably dead. That's about it. Lovely B-movie cheese. And the final one is a way more recent one. Those are older movies. And it's done by the director of Trick or Treat. And I actually like it. I enjoy it. Krampus. From 2015. The European folklore of Krampus, which is like a insane goat, evil Christmas spirit that punishes those that lose their Christmas spirit. It's a fun movie. I dig it. And I can't wait to watch it again this year. I haven't watched it yet for the holiday season. And that's Krampus, Silent Night, Deadly Night, Black Christmas. Those are my three. If you want some spooky vibes this holiday season to bring your festiveness, little darkness and spookiness, there you go. There's my three for you to check out. Christian, what are your three?
So with my three, I tried to think of some movies that weren't necessarily so mainstream that you would think of when you're thinking of Christmas horror. No offense to you, Sin. I just wanted to try to
Yeah,
think a
mine are
little bit
definitely more
more.
known. Like
Yeah.
they're more predominant out there. Krampus especially, but like the others are known. Like I said, one could be can be considered origin of slashers, and Silent Night, Deadly Night is definitely well known. I believe for the crazy effects in it. Like, I'm trying to think who did the effects on that movie. But I want to say like they had some wild stuff in it that definitely got it notoriety. But
Yeah, man. So with like I was saying with mine, it's more so just I was trying really hard to about films that weren't as known. Some of them, sure, I'm sure you're gonna know them, like just because you watch horror films. But with that being said, my movies are as follows. The first one on the list for me is a movie that I actually have watched the last couple of holiday seasons. I normally watch this movie by myself. I'm gonna try to watch it with my fiance this year just to see if we can both enjoy it, see what she thinks about it. But this one is called A Christmas Horror Story. And this movie, it's an anthology horror film that takes place around Christmas, and some of those stories are very creepy. It's a movie akin to movies like VHS and stuff like that. So, like I said, anthology horror about Christmas. All the stories kind of tie in when you get to the end of the film itself. I do enjoy this movie. I saw it a few years ago. I used to subscribe to the Horror Pack, I think is what it's called, the Horror Box Horror Pack, one of those. And horror, it's like the horror unboxing where you would order a mystery box every month, and they would send you, three Blu-rays or four Blu-rays, depending on how much money you wanted to spend monthly. And this was one of the exclusives at the time. And I gave it a shot and I watched it. I really enjoyed it. And now, if you want to see it, I believe it's streaming this month on Shutter. So if you guys have Shutter, you can totally watch this film. And then I would love to hear what you guys have to say about it, because I don't know anybody else who's really seen this film. So definitely A Christmas Horror Story is the first one on my list. The second one is a little bit campier, and this one is called Better Watch Out. It gives you, a lot of people say that it reminds them of like Home Alone and The Visit. And I will give you The Visit for sure. Home Alone, not so much. It has one scene that's very Home Alone esque, because I think they pull it straight from Home Alone, but it's horrific in a sense. It's not so much funny. Like, it's funny when it's happening, and then when you see the end result, it's like, oh shit, goddamn, they really did do that. But definitely Better Watch Out's another film for sure. And then the last one on my list is actually brand new, just debuted today on Shutter as well, and that film is called Christmas Bloody Christmas.
I saw
I
that.
had a
Yeah,
lot of
I want to
fun
check
with
that
this
out.
movie. I knew what I was getting into when I saw it. It's honestly, it's about a robotic Santa Claus that kind of pulls a Skynet and just starts murdering everybody on Christmas night. And I loved it just because, like I said, it's goofy, it's funny, it's bloody. The kills get pretty brutal, and this thing is essentially the Terminator with a Santa hat on. So definitely give it a shot if you are subscribed to Shutter for sure. And I just realized I didn't really tell you guys what Better Watch Out was about. Better Watch Out is essentially about this kid who has a crush on his babysitter, and he is going to kill everybody that gets in his way because he is going to shoot his shot essentially with his babysitter, and shenanigans ensue. So definitely give that one a shot if you haven't already. I think that one's streaming on damn near everything right now because it's a uh, like I said, Christmas Bloody Christmas, that's available on Shutter currently. And if you want to watch A Christmas Horror Story, I do know that that one is also available on Shutter, probably on Prime as well. So definitely give that one a shot if you haven't seen it. And those are my three top choices.
Nice. Appreciate it. But there you go. If you want some spooky stuff, got to keep the spooky vibes all time going around here. And yeah, there's 6 spooky movies for you to watch this holiday season to get in the Yuletide spirit, as well as also keeping it spooky and keeping it real. But that's pretty much all we have for this episode. It is time now that we go to the last call.
Pass the whiskey.
We actually did forget one thing, Sin. I just remembered.
What did we forget?
We forgot that I got some news for DC I wanted to share with you guys.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess it's not time for last call.
Not just yet. Really quick. I'll make this quick though, guys, because it's a lot of information that can be condensed to not a lot of information. So, a lot of us heard yesterday that DC is canceling a lot of shit right now, and that is true. James Gunn did come out and say that half the information that we got is true, half of it is not true, and the rest they don't know yet. So, what I can confirm is Wonder Woman 3 has been canceled. With that being said, let me explain to you guys why Wonder Woman is being canceled because it's actually quite it makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. First of all, Wonder Woman 1984 didn't do very well. Pretty much nobody liked that film. It looked cool, but it wasn't good, right? So we can all agree on that. With that being said, Gal Gadot was going to be paid $20 million just to be in Wonder Woman 3. Patty Jenkins, the director, was going to be paid $12 million just to direct the movie. So, just for this movie to be made without any other actors, without any other effects, without the scripts being written and rewritten, this movie was going to cost $32 million out the gate just so it could get made before anything else. $32 million. So, do I think that that was a good call to cancel that movie? Absolutely. You don't want to spend $32 million on two people when you can spend that same amount to get a whole movie made and then actually make your money back, especially with the crazy film that we just saw, which was Wonder Woman 1984. So there is that. We also know that The Flash has a Superman cameo in it that Henry Cavill shot in September. With that being said, they're probably going to take that out of the movie, mainly because they're not sure if they're still going to do this movie with Henry Cavill. And I think the thing with that is the teams that said that they wanted to do this movie now with Henry Cavill after being in Shazam or not Shazam but Black Adam and all that stuff. Like with that being said, the team is different. Like James Gunn and his partner are now going to be running everything, and they want to do things their way. They want to start this whole cinematic universe up in a way akin to Marvel, where every character gets time. They get their own movies. You get to breathe with them. You get to know who they are before they just start throwing everybody in this fucking movie to make another Justice League. Aquaman 2 is also likely going to be Jason Momoa's last film as Aquaman, but that's not super sad because we already know it's confirmed by Jason Momoa anyway that he's most likely going to be cast now as Lobo. Now, I don't know if Lobo is going to be a physical character that we see in a live action movie, or if it's going to be a voice or whatnot. But I do know that James Gunn has already said that he wants the movies and the shows, the cartoons, the games. He wants all of that stuff to come to stem from the same universe to kind of make all of this stuff congruent. So we've gotten that information. So we'll see that happening, and I think that they're doing that. But the best thing I can tell you, two things I can tell you guys really quickly that I think make a lot of sense. time James Gunn refers to the DCEU, he doesn't call it the DCEU. He calls it the DCU. So I think what he's going to do is everything in his power to wrap up the DCEU with these last movies that are coming out, like The Flash and Aquaman. I think The Flash will be the last film for this, the wrap up for this arc, if you will. And then they will start anew, and that will be called the DCU. And with the DCU, that's when we're going to get these movies that all tie in together that tell a congruent story with these characters akin to the MCU for Marvel. So I think that that's what's going on with that. And with all that being said, there is there's news knowing that the Batman right now, Matt Reeves, the Batman, and the Penguin show that's supposed to be coming out that they're making, those right now are safe. So I'm really excited about that. But just like I said, this version of Wonder Woman 3 isn't moving forward. I don't think that they're going to completely cancel out Wonder Woman forever. I think that because the script was turned in for Wonder Woman 3, it is no longer being accepted by James Gunn because it doesn't fit in with the world that he wants to make. So they'll probably make another script for Wonder Woman 3 and it'll be called whatever. Batman is safe. They're probably going to rework everything they're doing with Superman because James Gunn wants to tell his own version of Superman. So we'll have that. That'll be told differently. And like I said, Aquaman 2 and The Flash will probably wrap up this last bit of the DCEU that we've gotten, that we're used to, that a lot of people complain about all the time. And with all of that said, we know that Gunn's future plans and his Bible for the DCU that he wants to make up his new 10-year plan.
Is Henry Cavill still going to be
That
Superman?
information. That
Is Henry Cavill still going to be Superman?
we'll know that in about a week because that information's supposed to be coming out next week. So I think we'll know then what's going to happen. And just a little bit more news for fans who love horror and like fantasy shit. It just dropped yesterday. As to the as opposed to this recording this today. We just got this news yesterday, and I forgot to mention it earlier. But Mike Flanagan, the guy who directed Doctor Sleep, the guy who directed the House films and whatnot, he is officially now making a Stephen King Dark Tower series. I don't know what that's going to be streaming on, but he is making a series for the Dark Tower. So every Stephen King fan who loves the Dark Tower, myself included, we finally get that to be told the way that it should be told. It's going to be done justice to. I'm super excited for that. And I was thinking actually like a couple of weeks ago that if anybody was going to do the Dark Tower, it should be Mike Flanagan because he already works so closely with Stephen King and he does a good job at adapting his. Super excited about that. And that was the end of the news that I have. I hope it was good for you guys. I hope you learned something today. And if you did, let me know.
Nice. Thank you for sharing. And now that we had our premature, Christian, you don't know anything about being premature, right?
Nothing.
Okay. Now that we've prematurely went to it, now it is officially time to
pass the whiskey
as we get into the last call question. So get your
whiskey
ready. And Christian, I believe you have our last call question for the week. So what do you have for us, sir?
I do. Our last call question for the week is a little bit simple, but not so much. The question is, what is the most frustrating part of holidays?
I would think for me, probably the rush of things. The rush to like try to get stuff done, try to get like gifts ordered, and when you have a significant other, the rush and like pressure of like multiple families like going places and doing stuff and having different events, that can get frustrating just because it's rough to like try to juggle everything so it's like equal and fair and everybody gets to see, especially now that we have a kid and everyone wants to see him. It makes it a little frustrating and rough, but I would say probably that. What about you? What's the most frustrating for you? If I was still in retail and I did like retail, the most frustrating thing would have been dealing with the public for sure because they are awful to deal with. But now that I'm not in the public and doing that, I don't have to deal with that as much. So, what about you?
As of the time of this recording, I think the most frustrating thing about the holiday season is dealing with family, whether that be your family, whether that be your spouse's family. I think that's the most frustrating thing. Getting gifts for people can absolutely be frustrating. Trying to make sure that everybody's happy, it can be frustrating, all of that. But at the core of the holidays, for me anyway, the thing that frustrates me the most is just family members, because you're not going to please everyone. That's always a thing. You kind of know that going in. But everybody's family is different. Everybody reacts to Christmas differently. I'm not big on Christmas. It's not my favorite, as I've said before on this podcast. But that doesn't mean that my significant other doesn't love Christmas. So if she loves Christmas and I don't love Christmas, I gotta bring my A game for Christmas for her because she likes it, right? It's a given. But with that being said, just making sure that you do everything in your power to appease everyone's family, yours included, like that to me is the frustrating part, because they kind of encompass everything else about Christmas or the holiday season in general that is frustrating. So whether that be, trying to get things ready for people, or cleaning up your place, or having people over, or going to different places, all of that stuff, it boils down to the people you're going to see, which happen to be family. That's why I say family for me.
Gotcha. Fair enough. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Sippin' With Sin. If you'd like to have your question featured on Last Call, where you get featured on an episode and we will talk about it and answer your question, hit us up on Gilded, gilded.gg/Sinister. Pack in the application put from the podcast. You can also hit us up on social media. You can DM us there over on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Sippin' With Sin, SIPPIM with Sin. And send us your last call question. If you come into Gilded, there's tons of topics, tons of subjects you can talk about. There's stuff for my live streams, as well as a whole section just for the podcast, so you can come in and converse about the podcast. Several like to talk about stuff as is in there, so join the conversation. Yeah. You can find me on all the socials, Twitter and Instagram. IamSinister TV. You can find me live streaming on Twitch, twitch.tv/IamSinister TV. Facebook Gaming, fb.gg/IamSinister TV. And TikTok at IamSinister TV. You can find the podcast every Wednesday, 8 a.m. Central Time on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcast, Overcast, Anchor.fm, and more. You can also find the video version on YouTube at 8 a.m. every Wednesday as well. Both video version and audios drop at 8 a.m. Wednesdays every week. Check it out. Rate it 5 stars. Follow it. Subscribe to it. Share it with friends. Keep spreading the word. Have seen an uptick in the analytics, so let's keep that going. Let's keep the upward trajectory. Let's keep it rolling. Keep it going. You love to see it. And yeah, merch. If you want merch, go to bonfire.com/IamSinister, and you can buy some Sippin' With Sin merch. It's on my merch store. Go check that out. Pick up some merch for the holiday season. But other than that, Christian, where can the folks find you?
You guys can find me at the Horrorverse Pod on all socials. I will say right now, as far as the Horrorverse podcast, I have taken a minor break, just 2 weeks off. I am getting new equipment, trying to get all of that together so that when we start recording, the quality will be a little bit better, and those episodes will start coming out at normal scheduled time. We'll also release the schedule for the films that we're going to cover a week before we actually release those episodes, so you guys can watch along first and then enjoy the podcast if you hadn't seen those movies before. With that being said, I am still available on the Horrorverse Pod on all socials, so come and say hi, say what's up, and let me know if you have any recommendations on films.
I think we need a shirt that says, "With that being said." That's got to be Christian. Or we need a "With that being said" counter for each episode.
It's probably a lot.
I wonder, whoever's listening out there, if you've listened to this point, next episode or this episode, tell us how many times Christian said "with that being said." I'm curious. I'm sure it's a lot.
I'm actually curious too.
But that's going to do it for this episode. Check us out on socials. Hit us up. We would love to have last call questions or the Sinister Tales questions, or just comments about, do you want more? Give us something to list. Give us something to rank. Would you like to hear more about our days in the musical field? Or stuff like that. Next episode, we should be talking about the Video Game Awards, going over some of the winners, as well as me and Christian will talk about some of the game previews and let you know what we thought about some of the trailers. And then I'm sure we'll be talking about some other fun news and stuff and things. But I appreciate you all being here. Thank you for listening. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being part of the podcast. And we will see you guys next week. You don't have to go home, but you got to get the hell out of here. Christian, shut it down.
Thank you all for tuning in to yet another episode of Sipping with Sin. Be sure to leave a 5-star review, click that follow button, and most importantly, guys, you know those 3 words, say them with me. don't get gutted.
See you guys next week.